How's it going, everybody? Welcome back. Today's Monday, July 22nd. It is Game 4 of a 4-game wraparound set between the Yankees and the Rays today. Yankees have lost 2 out of the first 3. They're kind of stumbling coming out of the gate in the second half. You hope that they would get off to a better start because they had a bad month before taking 2 out of 3 from Baltimore. And really, the offense has been miserable. The pitching has been giving up way too many home runs. Obviously, they need somebody to step up. They need somebody to step up besides Gerrit Cole in the rotation. Now, Luis Gil has been throwing the ball pretty well. He doesn't start until tomorrow. You got Rodon, who's really struggled recently. His confidence is shot. He needs a big game. You got to get somebody hitting other than Aaron Judge, other than Juan Soto. Ben Rice is in the leadoff spot. He had a couple of walks yesterday, but he really has stopped hitting. He's only hitting about .211 right now. Anthony Volpe has been swinging the bat a little bit better. Austin Wells has been having some good at-bats, but we really need somebody to put together a scalding hot streak. And what we could really use is Giancarlo Stanton, who is working his way back. Unfortunately, as we've mentioned many times on this channel, Stanton, when he comes back from injuries, oftentimes slumps for a couple of weeks. It takes him a while to get his rhythm going. He doesn't like to play in rehab games, and he basically has just been taking BP on the side trying to get ready. And I don't know if that's enough preparation, but we need him back in the lineup and we need him hitting. Yankees are obviously shopping for bats. They're shopping for arms. We are now 8 days away from the trade deadline, so don't be surprised if something goes down. But if you lose 3 out of 4 in your opening series in the second half, that kind of makes the alarm bells ring even louder after that tough finish to the first half because everybody's rested. So it might just be the case that this is not a good baseball team right now. Whatever you want to say about Cashman, about Boone, about, the hitting coach Rousen, about, all the problems we've had in recent years, the one consistent thing is that the Yankees offense has not hit with runners in scoring position nearly well enough to be a championship contender. They have got to fix that problem, and they've got to fix it right now.
I live in New York City. I cannot believe you had the balls to do it.
Hey, Derek, over to 2 calling after that miserable loss today to the Rays. There's someone who they could pick up under the radar. It won't cost them a lot of money. It's Lane Thomas. He's on like a $2.2 million dollar deal. I think it's the last year of the deal with Washington. He's fast on the base path. Even when he's not hitting, he's stealing bases. He's walking. He's, hitting his double plays, making up for it. I mean, this is the kind of guy we need out there instead of Verdugo. Verdugo's got to go.
I saw an interesting stat yesterday that Alex Verdugo has actually been less productive with the Yankees than Joey Gallo was. And that's amazing. As we take a look at the StatCast numbers for Lane Thomas, his expected batting average is .273. That's not bad. He squares the ball up a lot. His base running value is in the 99th percentile. Not a great defensive player, just in the 7th percentile. But he doesn't chase very often. He doesn't whiff very often. He's got 25 stolen bases. Could be a nice little player. But again, only hitting .246. Last year he hit .268 with 28 home runs. He was 20-20, so 28 home runs, 20 stolen bases, 783 OPS. The OPS is higher than Verdugo right now. He is a right-handed hitter. That's not always the best thing. The Yankees have done better when they've had good left-handed hitters, but you got to take what you can get right now. So I would not be opposed to Lane Thomas. Depends on what he would cost. Just 28 years old, should still be in his prime years.
Hey, this is Mike. So Boone gets tossed out of the game again. When were he going to realize that tactic is not going to work anymore? I mean, once or twice is good, fire up the team, but give it a rest, Aaron. Give it a rest.
That's a great call. I said the same thing yesterday when he first got to the Yankees and he had that whole savages in the box moment. It really fired up the squad, but those antics just don't work anymore. He needs to find some different tricks. Maybe, managing the game better. Maybe, putting together a decent lineup. But getting ejected every 5 minutes. Now, 38 times now over his Yankees career, he's been ejected. It's embarrassing. It's not befitting of the Yankees manager. And I do like the passion, but you can't argue balls and strikes. It doesn't change anything. Yeah, I'm totally on board with this. He needs to get it together.
Hey, Derek, it's Bob in Ohio. Great show. We need bats really, really bad. Like you said, we need a second baseman. We need a third baseman that can hit. We need a closer and possibly a starter. What do you think we'll do? Thanks a lot.
Well, knowing Brian Cashman and knowing that he's nearing the end of his contract and he's trying to win another championship for his legacy, I'd imagine he'll go for it. But the talent might not be out there. And there's a lot of teams that are in it, a lot of teams, especially in the National League, that are fighting for a wild card spot. So that's going to raise the prices on these guys that they're trying to trade for. It's a seller's market. And I'm just not sure the Yankees are going to be able to basically backfill all of these problems. The time to fix the roof is when the sun is shining. You got to work on this stuff in the offseason and not always rely on having to trade half your minor league system at the trade deadline to fill things that you could have filled for just money during the offseason. So what do I think they'll do? I think they'll get some stopgap type of players. I think they'll bet on Giancarlo Stanton staying healthy the rest of the year, which I'm not sure is possible. I'm sure they'll look forward to Dominguez coming back. But in terms of actually going out and getting difference makers, I'm not sure they have the minor league talent available to trade for these guys without completely cleaning out their coffers. So I'm not optimistic about the trade deadline. I do think they'll make some pickups, but I don't see any game changers coming this way.
Hey, Derek. This is Aaron from Chicago. I try to stay a little optimistic in general, and at least the upside of so many players on our team hitting so poorly is that Brian Cashman really shouldn't have to do that much to make this team better. A couple of league average hitters, and that's a real improvement to the offense. Yeah. All right. Thanks, Derek. Take care.
It's a fair point. But like I said, seller's market, so you're going to be overpaying for these league average hitters. The time to do this was in the offseason, and once again, Brian Cashman has shown that he is horrendous at putting together a winning baseball team. Can he get us to or near the playoffs most years? Sure, but he's got a $300 million payroll. There's probably 12-year-olds all over the country who play MLB The Show who could do the same thing. But he has shown that he is not good at building depth. A lot of the people that he has drafted have not gone through the minor leagues in the way that they are, reliable backups at this point. We've had too many issues with bringing in guys who just are cast-offs from other teams like J.D. Davis. Brian Cashman to me is the biggest problem with this organization, and I've contended for years that Cashman needs to go.
Hey, Derek, this is Alex from Atlanta. I don't understand how Hal Steinbrenner can look at this team and be happy with what products have been put on the field since the Aaron Boone era. Lazy players, they give up too early. There's not enough time in this voicemail to go over everything. Hal needs to clear house. He's not going to do it, but I don't understand how Hal can look at the team and say everything's okay. Have a good one, Derek.
Do we really think that Hal cares as long as he's making money? Do we really think he cares that much? Every year this team sets a new record in revenue, and they're putting less and less of a percentage of that revenue back into the team. I think as long as Hal keeps getting richer and his partners keep getting richer and everybody's happy at those meetings, I think that nothing will change. This team has gone from an organization that values winning and championships and setting the example for Major League Baseball to just being content being the richest team. And that's hard to watch as a fan. We're seeing Boston kind of do the same thing. They don't really invest in their players anymore. They don't really bring in any big free agents. It's frustrating to watch these owners get satisfied by just bringing in and raking in the dollars and not trying to, put together a winning product. But Cashman and Hal are buddies, and I don't see it changing, and I don't think that Hal is ultimately too bothered by this.
Good morning, Derek. This is Hugh from Bay Ridge, Brooklyn, and I'm calling this morning. What really ticks me off is the fact that we don't have a third baseman in the minor leagues. What the hell is Oppenheimer doing? What is he drafting? Where is the development? I can't believe we don't have better talent at third in the minors than DJ LeMahieu or Oswaldo. It's beyond me. Thank you.
Again, it goes back to Cashman. It goes back to the player development. It goes back to the drafting. And they brought in John Birdie. They obviously realized they had a deficiency at third base, so they brought in a 34-year-old contact hitter from the Marlins. But as is the case with a lot of guys in their mid-30s, his body has betrayed him. He's been injured all season long, and I personally am not counting on him coming back. And now you're desperate for a bat at third base, and if you want to get somebody, it's going to cost you a premium.
I just heard from another podcaster that Devos cannot be called up for X amount of days because they already called him up once. The only way they could call him up now is if there's an injury. And to me, that goes on Boone. Devos should have been in there playing, and that way we could have found out what he's going to do.
You are correct, sir, and so is whoever this podcaster is, that once a player gets sent down, they have to be down in the minor leagues for 10 days. But if there's an injury, they can be called back up. But yeah, he should have played last weekend. He should have gotten an opportunity. It's just mismanagement to call up a young kid and then force him to sit the bench. Not only does that hurt their confidence, hurts their development. And you're right, we wanted to see what this kid has as we approach the trade deadline. At the very least, find out if you need to go out and get a second baseman or another infielder or third baseman, or if you can rely on this kid. He's got a great on-base percentage in the minor leagues. He's a left-handed hitter who will play well at Yankee Stadium. He lifts the ball in the air. That's going to lead to some power. But Yankees, once again, mismanaging things.
Derek, sports rabbi Josh Halleckman calling from the Holy Land. Gleyber Torres has got to go. The guy has got to go. Out the door. Finished. Goodbye, so long, farewell. That's number one. DJ, out the door. Bye-bye, so long, farewell. Aaron Boone, he's got to go because he doesn't have a clue how to get these players motivated enough. So it's bye-bye, so long, farewell to him. And Cashman, could he open up his eyes a little bit and see what he needs to get? And also, bring in a closer, please. Please, can we have a closer? Please, 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 pretty please. Love the show.
Rabbi, your word to God's ears.
Man, not looking good. Can't wait to see what additions this team brings in, because presently constructed, this team does not look like they're going to do anything whatsoever in the playoffs. Looks like it could be another early exit, unfortunately, and they need some improvements and quick.
An early exit implies they'll actually make the playoffs, but the way they've been playing over the last month and a half, really, it's no sure thing that they're going to even be in the postseason. Now, yeah, that gives me an extra month off, but I'd much rather be watching baseball. Come on. And yeah, this ultimately comes down to the roster construction. It comes down to the management, and it comes down to players that are just not motivated, that are not baseball players. You know, we thought that Verdugo, the way he played early on, was a gamer, but it's like he's totally given up and going through the motions, and he's trying to hit home runs every time. Get back to the game that, you know, created so much success in the first half. I don't understand why these guys get away from things that are making them successful. It's just infuriating.
Hey, Derek, the save situation. I was watching the game yesterday, and things aren't looking too good. We've seen the same exact things that have made the Yankees drop the past 2, 3, well, let's say several years now. So I'm of the camp right now that you have to change a lot of the culture of the clubhouse, and that's going to have to start with some impact position players. And I believe that we should trade the farm.
You're not the only one saying that. The problem with trading the farm is that if it doesn't work out and you don't win a chip, next year you're in an even worse spot. Again, I keep going back to this. It's Cashman, it's the organization itself that is just mismanaging everything they could possibly mismanage. And now they've put themselves between a rock and a hard place, and they're either going to have to pay a ton to get somebody who's just an average player, or they're going to basically have to stick with what they have, which we know will not get it done. So I don't blame the Yankees fans who are ticked off this morning. Let's get to the Nostra Derek prediction. Today's prediction, 2+ home runs allowed for Carlos Rodon. I know we typically keep these positive, but I have zero faith in Carlos Rodon. I don't think that he is mentally equipped to pitch for the Yankees. And the way the Rays are swinging the bats lately, it's going to be a long day for Mr. Rodon. I would love to be wrong. I would love for this prediction to not manifest, but like I said, it's going to happen.
Back, track, wall, see ya!
If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe. It helps other fans find the channel. NYY Recaps is also available on all your favorite podcast platforms, and we'll see you next time.